I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. Today, I'm going to answer what most new coaches are dying to figure out. How do I attract my next coaching client? Or maybe even my first coaching client? So if you are a brand new coach, you're going to love this episode because I'm going to talk about the strategy of actually finding or attracting your next client online. And I'm going to talk about the mindset of how to feel good about selling and how to feel good about marketing. Like, what do you actually put into your marketing messages? So I'm going to help you to not only overcome those mindset blocks that might be keeping you from actually inviting people to work with you, inviting them into your programs to close the sale, but also how to even find who you might be interested in inviting into your programs through your marketing. So it's going to be a lot. I'm going to try and keep this one fairly short, but we'll see. It might be a bit longer than some of my other episodes because this is a really confusing process for new coaches. So I'm going to try and break it down really simply and in ways that you could take lessons from today's episode and implement literally today. Like, take notes and start changing up your marketing and your sales tactics right away. Okay, so first thing, if you have not heard the term marketing funnel or sales funnel yet, I'm guessing you're going to be confused. But if you've heard it from other people, I'm guessing you probably have a bit of an understanding of what it means. However, I think people try to make that sound like fancy and confusing and like it's really hard to understand, or it takes like certain websites or certain steps or certain like click funnels or products, like, you know, it takes a certain Facebook ad strategy or something like that to get a sales funnel set up or a marketing funnel just right. And I want to just dispel all of that by telling you exactly what it is. And it is really simple. So if you think about a liquid funnel from your kitchen, it's got a cone shape flipped upside down, right? So it's like a triangle upside down. At the top is bigger than at the bottom. And all this means is that you pour in a lot of the liquid and only a little bit comes out the bottom, right? Because it's funneled through and is a smaller amount at the bottom that actually comes out of it. So you can pour, a gallon at the top and then it drips out. Now, in the marketing and sales world, a marketing funnel or a sales funnel, I call them marketing funnels. A marketing funnel works in the same concept of it's bigger at the top, it's smaller at the bottom, because you're getting, ideally, lots of leads that find out who you are through your intentional outreach and content marketing that you're doing, or networking, or however you're finding new people. You're meeting more people at the top than are actually buying from you, which is the last step of your funnel at the bottom. Now, how many stages the stranger that comes into your funnel at the top has to go through before they can become a buyer at the bottom is where there's a lot of disagreement. So there are like funnel experts out there that will tell you it has to be like 30 steps. There are copywriters that will say, it's 15 times that somebody has to hear from you in an email in order for them to be ready to trust you and buy from you. And there's me, who's going to tell you that however many steps you end up making that funnel doesn't actually matter. What matters the most is that you understand the 3 things that your funnel needs to be doing, and then get started with at least a 3-step process, and then add on more steps and more engagement opportunities over time. So your marketing funnel's job is, like I said, 3 steps minimum. So if you were a brand new coach, I would get you started thinking about your marketing funnel as the top of your funnel, so the biggest number of people that enter your marketing funnel, all the people that are brand new to you, as strangers. And so to find people to fill into your funnel, you need to be going out and finding strangers that might be interested in what you do and putting yourself in front of them, right? In some form or fashion, you want to be seen and known by them. And the more people that hear you and hear your message, the better. Now, typically, my clients are using an education marketing strategy. So we're talking about lessons you can be teaching on, mindset shifts, or, problem and solution, how-tos, that kind of thing. So if you're creating content, let's say on Instagram or TikTok, and you're using hashtags on your posts or on your videos, and a stranger gets served your TikTok in their FYP, so their For You page, or on their Instagram feed, because let's say they follow one of the hashtags you use, or they're scrolling on their Explore page or their Reels, and you used a hashtag that the Instagram algorithm thinks they'd like, and same for for TikTok, right? Like the TikTok algorithm thinks that they would like your video, but they're strangers, like they've never heard your name before. That first interaction they have with you is them being at the very top of the funnel. So they're just being poured into the funnel. If we're thinking back to the kitchen example with like liquid being poured into a funnel. So ideally, we're having lots of new strangers come in contact with our content. And that's why you'll hear some marketers say like more is more, because they want you to be out there. And as much as you can sustainably be putting out good content, not like I half-assed this and I'm just hitting post because I think I'm supposed to, but like actually sharing valuable content that goes out to strangers is great. Like we want you to be thinking about your videos, your content, like your post, your storytelling all the time. So that way your funnel is full of lots of potential leads. So your marketing funnel at the top, right, is for strangers. That's the first step, is how are you finding new strangers who might be interested in who you are and what you do? So typically that's going to be hashtags. That's going to be maybe collaborations. That's going to be going to network events. That might also be like podcasting or YouTube. That could be paid for ads like on Google searches or Facebook or Instagram. It's any way that you are getting your voice and message out to strangers. That's the first layer. Second layer that your marketing funnel needs to be doing for you is turning strangers that like what you do into engagers. Now, at this point, we want to know who that person is. So in some way, we need them to be like virtually raising their hand or engaging with our content. So I'm going to use the Instagram example now. So if you made a reel and you used hashtags for a broad audience, so a lot of people saw your reel, let's say 5% of them might be like, oh, I like this story, or I like this perspective. I want to follow this person. Or I'm going to comment on this post and give my thoughts or answer that question that she asked at the end of the video or something. They've now engaged with your post or with your profile. In some capacity, they've let you know, they've raised their hand and said, I like what you're doing. They've given you some feedback, right? They've started engaging with you, engaging with your content. So that's the second step. And this is going to be less people than all the strangers that are going to come in contact with your work. That's why we think about this in terms of a funnel, is that we're helping people that don't like what we do move along and not stay in our funnel, but we're helping the people that do like what we do get closer and closer to us and potentially become buyers. So we're giving them more and more targeted and personalized interactions with us. So on the Instagram example, you've got your reel. Let's say somebody comments on the reel, answering a question you asked and follows you. That's like a very hot lead. They're letting you know in more than one way. They're very interested in engaging with you. Now you have the final step, which I consider stranger, engager, buyer. Now, this isn't saying that it's every person that makes a sale, because this is your marketing funnel, right? The output at the very bottom, that small stream that comes out of your funnel, those are the people that actually purchase. But to get to the bottom of your funnel, the tip of the triangle down at the bottom, they are now potential buyers. So strangers, engagers, buyers. And then you have the sale outside of the marketing funnel. So in the Instagram example, your reel got shown to a bunch of people. You've got people that now are commenting and following you. To start nurturing them for a sale, you might want to reach out to them personally in a message and say, hey, thanks so much for your comment. Here's what I thought of it. Or, hey, thanks for following me. I'm offering a free training this Friday. If you liked that video that I just shared on my reels, I bet you're going to like this training that's coming up. Let me know if you want the link. And then on that training might be where you talk about your philosophy and your program and you pitch them to buy it. Or if you're messaging with them and they're telling you like, yeah, I loved that because I struggle with this lesson. Like I just keep having to relearn it. And I really want to overcome this block, but I don't really know how, but like, this is my goal. And it seems like you help people with that. Then you can be like, yeah, that's exactly what I help people with. Like, have you heard about my program? Or have you thought about working with a coach to reach your goals? And nurture the conversation, right? Get to know them, get to know what they're looking for, and then let them know, hey, well, if you want to work together, here's my product, or here's my program, here's my way to work with me. So that's the principle of what a marketing funnel does. So it starts at the top with strangers, moves some of the strangers out of the funnel, but the ones that become engagers are now even more likely to become buyers because it's just getting smaller and smaller down the funnel. And then after they're all the way in the like hot leads, right? Like they're potential buyers, like they could buy something from you. If they close a sale, that's happening after they leave those 3 steps. And at every stage of this marketing funnel, you want to be thinking about consent. So on your very first stranger level engagement, you want to be inviting people to learn more. But for every person that likes your reel, you don't want to go immediately into their Instagram and like send them a message and be like, hey, do you want to sign up for my free class this Friday just because they engage one time? Or, hey, do you want to buy my program? Like, no, don't be cold pitching. Just because I liked your post doesn't mean I'm ready to be invited into buying something from you, right? So we want to spend time engaging with people, making sure that they know about our free offers, making sure that they see more of our posts, getting to know them and asking them questions, and then helping them decide if they like what we do, how we do it, and if they want to work with us. And so by framing your entire marketing funnel through the lens of consent, you're asking questions about essentially, do you want to become an engager? So if I'm using the Reels, messages, webinar, 3-step funnel, so strangers are seeing my Reels, engagers are seeing my messages, and my potential buyers are attending my webinars, like my free trainings, then in that scenario, I want to be asking them questions from the jump. So from the strangers level, I want to be asking them in my reels, if you want to know more, send me a message. If you want to reach this goal, send me a message. If you want something, then do something. So essentially, you're giving them the clear call to action that, hey, if you want to become one of my engagers, do this thing, raise your hand. And it's through that raising of the hand by way of messaging or commenting or whatever that they're giving you consent to become an engager. And then once they become an engager, then again, you want to give them another question of, hey, it seems like you're into this and like this aligns with you, right? Well, I have this other opportunity that you would probably really enjoy. Are you interested in signing up? Do you want the link? you again are giving them the opportunity to not respond, to respond, no, not really, or to be like, yeah, actually, I do. Because there's also the psychological science behind when people realize they're saying yes to you over and over again, they're getting in the habit of building trust with you because they are subconsciously feeling safer and safer because they are moving towards you. You're not moving towards them. So you're inviting them to be moving closer and closer and closer so that by the time they're presented with an opportunity to work with you or buy something from you, they've already gone closer and closer and closer. And they've gotten to know you well enough and your philosophy and what you do and how you do it and how you view the problems so that they can actually see themselves working with you. They already know they like you and they like how you do things, how you talk about things. They're not just a random person that you're trying to get to buy some random thing. It's actually an informed decision. So in your marketing funnel, I want you thinking about, how are you reaching out to strangers? How are you asking them to become engagers? How are you serving your engagers and asking them to become potential buyers? And then where is the actual sale occurring? So if it's on your webinar and at the end you're pitching a program, do you know how to follow up with people? If it's on a sales call, do you know how to have the conversation of a sales conversation? If it's through a link in your bio, where are you telling your potential buyers to click the link in your bio? Because again, we want to be inviting people into these opportunities with us every step of the way. And that does mean that we open the door, right? We give them the opportunity, we let them know what the next step is, but they have to walk through it. But if you're keeping the door shut and you're not ever pointing to the door, if you're not welcoming them in, it's like they came to your house, right? And were like excited to come into the party, but you never answered your door. Or they like, the lights were all off and they weren't sure if they could enter. Like, you want to be inviting people to keep learning with you and keep moving closer and potentially buying from you. So it is an active conversation of closeness and relationship building rather than, oh, you showed some interest, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Like, that is just a terrible way to market. So don't do that. But to actually attract your next coaching client, you need to be thinking about your entire marketing funnel and your marketing and sales strategy holistically. Because if you don't have those multiple steps in place to be finding new people, right? So new leads, engaging with them, finding out if they're potentially good fits for you and your programs, you're never going to get to the last step of inviting them to buy. And all of this is so much easier to plan out if you do one critical thing. And this is the thing that I have all of my program development bootcamp clients do first. It is literally the first activity that they do in their workbooks. And this is so hard to wrap your head around. So I'm going to, again, break this part down about why it makes sense and why you have to do this. But it is your ideal client avatar. So as you're developing your marketing funnel and you're thinking about your strangers, engagers, and buyers journey, right, through that marketing funnel, if you don't know your one ideal client, like the person that if you could sell 10 spots to your next group program to 10 of basically the same person, your like dream client, the person that you wish would come and buy your high-end one-on-one closest touch program today, like dreamy client, ideal, perfection client, when you're going and making decisions about what should I say in my engagement content, my buying content, like should I be putting out reels or TikToks? Are they on Facebook or should I be using ads on Google? Like, and then what should all of the content look like in my marketing funnel? You are going to fumble and you are going to get so burnt out and so frustrated if you don't have clarity first. And the clarity that you need to have is all built upon your ideal client avatar. So what that looks like is getting super clear on who the one person is. And this is like a mythical person, right? You're making them up. But it can be drawn off of like past clients or your best friends or, somebody who didn't buy from you last month, but you really wish would have, or your past self, like a year ago, or whenever, right? Whenever you were in a place where your ideal client is and where the perfect buyer for your program is right now, where if they got started in step 1 of your program, they would be like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. I've been looking for this. Thank you for giving me this activity, right? That is the person you have to have so much clarity on before you start thinking about your marketing funnel and what you actually put in it. So that if you're like, well, should I make, TikToks or Reels? What does your ideal client like? Where are they? Are they more of an Instagram user or a TikTok user? They're one potential person, right? So they're going to have one favorite. Pick the favorite and start there. Does not mean you can't also cross post or add on to, if you decide Instagram now in 6 months, once you've got your Instagram strategy like locked in, that you can't add TikTok. No. But if you're a brand new coach and you're like overwhelmed by the idea of even posting 3 times a day, or 3 times a week on a platform, pick one and pick the one that your ideal client likes to be on already. So chances are this is going to align with whatever app you like to be on the most. And if you have an iPhone, I don't know about other platforms, but if you have an iPhone, you can go into your screen time and find out in your social media apps, what app do you spend the most time on? Because whatever one you spend the most time on right now, you probably know the most about what performs well on that app, simply because you've been watching other people on that app more than any other one. So that's one data source you could go look at. But also, if you know that your ideal client is in their 50s, and we know that people in their 50s are more likely to be using Facebook than TikTok based on the data that you can go and look up about ages, like literally go Google it and you can find out like age demographics of different platforms. If you know that your ideal client is 50 and they're using Facebook more than they're using TikTok, why would you create TikToks for your strangers, right? Like you'd be wanting to create Facebook posts and engaging with people on Facebook groups and things like that and building up your Facebook page. So I want you to think about your ideal client before you start trying to plan out your strangers' content, your engagers' content, and your buying content. But some of the most critical factors isn't just like where do they show up online, like what do they like to do, but it's more so what are their motivators right now? What are their fears? What are their goals? And what are the barriers that they think stand in their way of reaching their goal right now? And what do you know about how to overcome those barriers? So this is getting into more of the like what actually goes into your content. So once you know who your ideal client is, you map out your marketing funnel, then when it's time to start thinking about, okay, let's say I decided I'm going to do an Instagram reel for my strangers. I'm going to send a message to anyone who follows me. So I'm going to ask everybody on my Instagram reels to follow me. And every person that follows me is going to get a welcome message from me. And I'm going to talk to them as long as they want to, right? Get to know them. And if at some point I think that one of my freebies could help them, I'm going to invite them to that freebie to sign up for my email list, get my lead magnet, whether that's a webinar or a workbook or whatever, right? So Instagram reel, Instagram message, email list. And then on my email list or at the end of those freebies, I'm going to invite them to work with me. If that's my marketing funnel and that's based off of my ideal clients' habits and interests, the actual topics that I'm going to talk about in my reels and my messages and that I'm going to shape my lead magnet around perfectly coincides with what my program is that I offer, what my coaching program is. So it's going to talk about where you are now, where you want to go, and the transformative steps you have to take to get from the starting point to the ending point. So let's say you help women in their late 30s lose 10 pounds. So you would talk about, okay, women in their late 30s, let's say you're super clear about who they are, right? They're a busy mom. They don't like cardio. They need to figure out a way to eat that is comfortable for them, that they like, and that fits into their busy lifestyle. They don't want to do cardio, but they want to get stronger again. And they've only got about 20 minutes a day for themselves for this goal. You're going to speak to that specific goal through all of those barriers they have and teach them your best lessons for overcoming them. And then again and again and again, highlight through all of your stages of your funnel, if this is where you are and this is where you want to go, and these are the blocks you have to overcome, here are the answers. Because as coaches, we don't just sell courses, right? We're not all course creators. Maybe you're a coach and a course creator, and so maybe you disagree with this, but personally, as a coach, most of my clients know what they're doing that isn't supportive of reaching their goal. They know what the problem is. They're aware they can't stick to their plan. They don't know how to actually do it though. So like they can know the tangible, what they need to be doing, but they can't make themselves do it. There's something blocking them, right? So that's why they need a coach to hold them accountable, to help them look at their mindset blocks, to give them support, and to basically be there with them along the journey to actually showing up and doing the work, right? So the lessons you want to be teaching your ideal client through your marketing funnel is the how-to content, right? So like the learning content that your ideal client would need to know at the beginning of your program, because the actual benefit of your program is doing all of that. Because personally, if someone doesn't need a coach and they can just learn the 5 steps to something and go do it on their own, cool. Like they're not a good fit for my programs, right? Like they don't need coaching. But if someone reads the 5 steps, right, and is like, well, I don't know how to actually do step 1. Like I see the directions, but like, how does that make sense for me? And what about this? And what about that? And I need personalized support to make this work. That person needs coaching. That person's a good fit for my program. So that's why I say like teach your best lessons in your marketing funnel. And then at the end of each of your lessons, like invite them to the next step with you to get to know you. So I've covered a lot, right? So like what a marketing funnel is, who you should be tailoring all of your marketing funnel content for, and then what type of things to be covering in your marketing funnel to help people decide if they want to work with you and if you understand their problem the way they understand it, and if you talk about the barriers they need to overcome and how they can overcome it, and if that all aligns with them, right? And if they want to work with you, if they need what you're selling. So once you got all of that super specific information planned out, and you're showing up and you're making your content and you're inviting people to get closer and closer to you through your marketing funnel, one of the biggest blocks that happens for new coaches, especially, and honestly, like I struggle with this 5 years in, like it is a super common block because it feels opposite to what we think we should be doing, but it's 100% what we have to be doing. There's this fear that, well, if I get so specific about who I help and I only talk to that one person's thoughts, that one person's fears, that one person's needs and goals, then I'm not going to be able to make enough sales. I'm going to be way too specific. And so I'm not going to actually attract anyone. But the truth is, to actually attract your next coaching client, you need to be talking to one specific person, or else you won't be helping anyone. And that really sucks. Like if you're trying to help everyone, you end up helping no one because you're not getting specific enough. Like if I said, I can help anyone cook dinner in your kitchen. Okay, like that's super vague. That's like top level categories, right? Like you can help anyone cook. Okay, but why should I learn that from you and not these other 1,000 people out there? But if you are someone that can help busy moms cook nutritious meals that fit with their health goals that they can make in 20 minutes or less with one pan, so they don't have to spend all night doing dishes and can instead spend free time with their kiddos, building memories. Oh, you get me. You get my goal. You get my problems, and you can help me overcome it and reach my goal. You're my person. Whatever you tell me to do, I am going to do next. So, oh, I just saw this great Instagram reel telling me that you can help me do all that. And then you told me to follow you to learn a recipe for tomorrow night's meal. Okay, I'm going to follow you. I want that. And then, oh, you messaged me and were like, hey, saw you liked that Instagram reel about recipes for 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. If you want a free meal plan for the entire week, let me know and I'll give you the link to download it. Well, shoot, if I'm your perfect client, yeah, I want that link. And so then I get on your email list. And once I'm in your email list, you're sending me messages about your upcoming program launch. I'm way more likely to buy it. But if you were just saying, hey, I can help people cook with none of that extra like transformative details of where I am, where I'm going, what I want, why I want it, what I need to overcome to get there, I'm just going to keep scrolling like, oh, nice video. Doesn't apply to me. But if you directly call me out and my specific problems and my specific needs and my specific barriers, I'm going to listen. And even if I'm not a mom, but I get served that video because I do want to learn how to cook healthy, nutritious meals on weeknights in one pan so I have less dishes, not because I want to spend more time with my kids, but because I want to spend more time reading. I'm still going to want to follow you. I'm still going to like that video. I'm still going to follow your page because 90% of it is totally connected to me and what I want. My specifics as viewers, it's very uncommon that we hear one specific and we're like, oh, this is for moms. The recipes must not work for me. No, we're like, recipes, cool. Like, and kids like it. Shit, like I eat like a kid sometimes. I'm probably going to like these recipes. 20 minutes or less. Yes, please. I'm going to follow you. But if you stay too vague, I help people cook in their kitchens. Like, you're just one of many. You're not somebody that gets me and my perspective. And as coaches, our job is helping people with their thoughts, right? And helping them overcome their blocks and their mindset shifts and like give them the tools and the resources and the new beliefs that are going to help them actually get where they want to go through our programs. So we have to start owning who we help and how we help them from the top of our marketing funnel, because otherwise we are going to have people in our marketing funnel that don't get us. And then we're going to be sharing content that we think is really valuable, but doesn't land right with the people that are following us because they probably shouldn't have been following us in the first place, but they only did because they were really vague. And so they thought maybe I'd like it. And then you got the wrong people and you're sitting there wondering, why is, my follower count getting bigger, but nobody's engaging with my content? It's because you've got the wrong people in your marketing funnel. So you need to be really specific about who you want to attract into your coaching program, who that coaching program is best designed to serve, who you are best prepared to serve, and then build out your marketing funnel based around that specific person and their needs and their desires and their beliefs. And the more specific you are when creating the content by talking to like one specific person and one specific person's thoughts, the more likely people that start at the top of your funnel and see your work become engagers and then become potential buyers and actually close a sale. If you're still doubting me, give me a week or two, try it and see if you get more engagement. If you're struggling and you're like, well, I don't know, like, who is my ideal client? What is my coaching program? If you're struggling with those questions, you might be a great fit for the upcoming round of the Program Development Bootcamp. There's a new one next month. So let me know if that's something you're interested in learning more about. You can message me on any of my social media platforms or go to my website to learn more about it. But if you are ready to attract your next coaching client and you're stuck with questions like, well, what am I selling them exactly? And who is my ideal client? How do I actually create a marketing and sales funnel for them so that I can be confidently selling my own coaching program to them that is ready to go, so that if, that video goes viral and a bunch of people see it and then they're like ready to buy this week, your program's actually ready. I can help you figure out all of that to get your business developed so you're ready to actually get out there and confidently sell your coaching program and run your own marketing funnel in a way that closes sales for you. All right, I hope this episode was helpful, and comment on the posts I have for this episode on social media if you have questions. But otherwise, hopefully this was a good deep dive into what a marketing funnel is and how critical it is to get clear on who your ideal client is, and then actually knowing what content to put into your marketing funnel so you attract the right people so you can close more sales and get more coaching clients. All right, hope to have you back for our next episode that'll come out in another week, and talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.